That's weird. That's weird. Kind of weirding me out.
You are a sad, strange little man.
Crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy.
Isn't that weird?
That's weird, man.
It's strange.
What's up, campers? Welcome back to episode 158 of Camp Strange. I am your camp counselor, Alex Tobin.
And I'm your other camp counselor, David Ledwith.
And before we go into these longer stories we have for you, we got to catch up on any of the weird news you may have missed. And David, would you like to start things off?
Sure, why not?
Oh, wait, shit. I didn't do the thing. I didn't even do our intro. Okay, wait. Let's keep going. Right. Yeah. We're back to bring you the spooky, wacky, weird, strange, and Irish.
Oh.
But before we do, we gotta catch up on any of the weird news you may have missed. David, would you like to start?
Sure, why not? Florida teacher accused of biting two students over a jar of pickles.
Wait, from what I recall, who had the jar of pickles? Because people don't bring jars of pickles in their lunch.
Maybe they did. I don't. Maybe.
David, you have a story in front of you. This is me fishing for answers, and you're like, "Yeah, I don't know. This is crazy." Speaking, why you look for this information? Because I know it's gonna take. David's not the quickest reader. That's okay. It's okay. I'm also not. But I also know that. I think Mike Tyson, just on a weird sidebar news, Mike Tyson just came out with edible gummies, as in edibles like marijuana gummies, and they are in the shape of ears with a bite taken out of them.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think?
Or do you make the bite?
No. There's like a little piece missing from the gummy, which is kind of bullshit in itself because now we're just missing out on gummy.
Yeah, it's true.
No, that part of the gummy that's missing is the part that sets you over the edge where you become too high and you start screaming at a box of Raisin Bran in the corner, which my friend did when he got too high.
Yeah. So what it was saying is I think a lot of the information is being withheld because it's two minors. But a teacher saw two kids grabbing a jar of pickles, which I believe were the teachers. And the teacher ran up and
bit them.
The teacher licked their arms to get them off of the jar, and then then she bit both of their forearms.
You know what's weird? If it was a male teacher, I immediately am like, that is.
Oh, they'd kill him.
Yeah,
they'd put a bullet in his head.
Oh, I know. When you said this and it was like in the news and people were just like, "Oh, like the teacher bit the kids," I was like, "Oh, it's a female teacher." Because if it was a male teacher, it'd be like, "Male teacher pronounced dead on scene after licking student's arm." Like, I just feel like it's. I mean, neither is okay, but I feel like that's definitely not okay. But
yeah,
I don't know. It sounds kind of playful, but you can't be doing that to the children.
Yeah, One of the students is Kathy Toro, 15-year-old, and her nephew, who they don't want to release the name out to the media. Toro said her nephew and another student were putting up a jar of pickles, and Rice, the teacher, bit them both on their forearms to release the jar.
Why was there a jar of pickles in the classroom?
I don't know. I mean, my first thought was, what if it was one of those like pickled baby pigs?
Excuse me?
That they keep in the science room. You know, one of those?
Yeah, I don't think they use fucking pickle juice, David. I don't think they're fucking using spices.
Preserves it.
They're using like
coriander,
peppercorn. It's a peppercorn baby pig.
A bay leaf or two.
That's a tender pig. Don't touch the pig.
Oh, don't rattle the cage now.
You'll
that
spook
pickle
them.
Won't break apart.
You'll spook them. Speaking of, I also have another teacher news story. As an educator read, "I need a new butt to children." Then he was fired, and I posted that on the store. I was walking through Target, and there's a book called "I Need a New Butt," and I posted.
Oh yeah.
I posted it on the story. And I was like, when the penguin gets to you or something like that.
I remember that.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was literally like 2 weeks ago. I hope you remember it. But the teacher read this book to the kids. He's just like a normal, nice-looking dude, and he read it to like 250 like younger kids over Zoom, 240 second graders over Zoom, and 2 days later, he was accused of violating the standards and conduct section of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics.
Because he was teaching.
Yeah, well, he said he's like, yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you did there. But no, apparently he's like, I usually choose like the really silly books to get like the kids who don't like to read interested. Like it's a part of my like tactic. And apparently some teachers were like, it says, a letter to Mr. Price, the superintendent, called the book inappropriate. She particularly took issues with the references to farting in the story and how the book describes butts in various colors, shapes, and sizes. Example, fireproof, bulletproof, bomb-proof.
Oh.
Well, I don't think that's really an issue. You know, you're like, oh, my butt's bulletproof. I mean, maybe, but like, I think the example of like the farting and being like, oh, your butt comes in different. Like, who cares?
It's a sin. Farting's a sin.
But like the teacher said, he expected a write up, but then he had worked for the district for 3 years. I think he's been an educator for like 20 years, and he expected a write up maybe, but he got terminated, and he said he cried the entire way home. It's so fucked up. It's like if they're selling the book in like Target and like I mean I'm not telling you to go read like a romance novel that they sell in Target to second graders, but like this is obviously a fucking kids book, and the whole premise of the book is it says the book was published in 2012. It's about a boy who searches for a new butt after he discovers a crack. It's like I bring this to like the Board of Education. Like they're gonna fucking. Are you serious?
My butt's broken. It keeps leaking things out of it. I don't know.
It's so I love to see him. Like I need a new butt. He opens it and just like medical pictures of people's assholes. Like the doctor's like, this is a horrible case of hemorrhoids that needs surgery. You need a new butt. And
yeah,
the doctor's like,
it's a war zone.
This is medically accurate. I'm more okay with this. You know. This is
an
fine.
Autopsy book.
I bet if like at the end it said something about like God or something like that or Jesus, I bet they'd be like, "This is fine." Like Jesus has the best butt, you know. But,
oh yeah.
No, he can't. His butt's broken. I just think it's fucked up. But hey, you know what? I hope he gets his job back or a better job. I hope he doesn't get his job back. I hope he gets a better job.
Yeah.
So
it's true. Well, here we got a snake is eyed as the culprit in man's death until cops realize it can't pull a trigger.
Snake can pull trigger.
That's what's funny. Is a snake, probably out of all the animals in the Mighty Kingdom, I feel like aside from monkeys, like snake's number 2.
I was gonna say I think I've seen a monkey shoot a gun or something like that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I say monkey. Ooh. Monkey, and then I think a tie for second would be like snake elephant.
Snake elephant.
Not a snake elephant. Snake or an elephant.
No, an elephant couldn't get that snout through a trigger guard.
Yeah, but like you give it a shot. I don't know. They have like a little tip of their nose, but like you've seen what they are able to do with their trunk. I mean, pick up a whole melon. You know what? If it's blunt force trauma, that's an elephant, right?
Yeah.
Real bonk you on the head type move.
Yeah, looking for peanuts, crack your skull open.
Yep, there's peanuts in here, all right. Well, that's pretty cool. I'm guessing that some man was shot to death.
Yeah, I think so.
And then he had a pet snake. And
yeah, it was a shotgun.
Was it?
Yeah.
So the snake cocked it too, or didn't cock it? I mean.
Oh, always keep it cocked.
I always keep my shotgun cocked and ready near the snake. Just in case I get double teamed, I need the snake to back me up. Little did I know, I forgot to feed the snake yesterday, and it was mad. It was hungry for vengeance.
So it appears the man was at the location with a gun because, and I quote, where is it?
He was at a location with the gun? He wasn't, like, at his house?
No, he was at, like, a zoo that had a shit ton of snakes.
With the shotgun?
A killer snake was on the loose. One of the sheriff's deputies tell another, I don't care if it's a 5-inch snake. If something's trying to bite me, I'm going to light its ass up.
Good thing that guy wasn't in that woman's class, am I right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
For the sake of the woman. Wait,
Start
so
seeing people biting.
He showed up to a zoo with a shotgun to shoot a snake that had escaped from the zoo?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Ben Rennick had been shot 8 times, once at close range.
What? David. He was shot 8 times with a shotgun? I am so confused.
Yeah, this doesn't make any sense. It was in Missouri.
I am in misery.
Yeah, there you go.
David, this doesn't do anything. Now I'm just leaving with more. You're not informing me. You're giving me more questions. This man is dead. He was shot 8 times at a zoo, and he had a shotgun. I assume the police shot him.
No, he was the police, though.
Is that just something he said before when he showed up with the shotgun? Or was he actually police?
Oh, yeah.
Both.
Both.
I hate this fucking story.
All right, no, it wasn't a zoo. It was a snake breeding. A snake breeder.
Okay, and he showed up with a shotgun?
Yeah. Well, a killer was on the loose.
Who shot him? Who fucking shot him?
They don't know, man.
Oh, I guess
It's a
that's
mystery.
true. Well, it wasn't the snake. We'll tell you that much. The man was shot 8 times. The guy was shot 8 times, and they're still like, it might have been the snake.
Yeah.
Like what?
I'm just browsing through here. Here's a good quote. I got a new scarf.
Dude, I don't know.
They put it in quotes.
Is that what he said right before he died?
Yeah.
Ugh. Well, speaking of animals killing people, this is actually, you kind of set me up for both of these. Escaped petting zoo camel attacks and kills 2 men in Tennessee.
Sorry, I escaped what?
It escaped a zoo, a camel did, and killed 2 men in Tennessee.
Jesus.
Yeah, so it also attacked a sheriff's vehicle. And so this is in Memphis, Tennessee. Oh, both of these are from Tennessee. Wait, was my first one from Tennessee? Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
You made a joke. So either that or
No,
like,
it was Mississippi.
oh, it was. Yeah, a lot of like I's and E's, so like I get them mixed up. So on March 10th, this camel escaped this zoo and began attacking people. It was like a petting zoo, apparently. It's called Shirley Farms, and apparently, by the way, it's horribly run, apparently, and like had like really ill-equipped food and water for these animals and blah, 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 blah. And camels aren't supposed to be aggressive unless like it's mating season, which is in the winter, so it doesn't make sense. But they showed up, and there were 2 unconscious men on the ground when they showed up, and apparently it was just like going crazy. I think they shot the camel. They killed it. The 2 men were pronounced dead at the scene. I just don't get how a camel can do that. But then at the end,
I mean, it's like a horse.
I guess. But like, that's still. I mean, I guess people get trampled to death by horses and stuff like that. Like,
one good kick in the jaw, you're done.
Yeah, I guess you're right, huh?
I almost killed a man with a horse once.
What does that mean?
It means what it means. I almost killed a man with a horse once.
Were you using the horse? Okay,
Yeah,
so
on the
now
horse.
animals are using weapons and humans are using animals as murder weapons. I was
riding a horse and it grabbed my shotgun. It started just blasting.
You never arm a horse. But yeah. But at the very end, basically, it says something. Oh, it says. Researchers reported a similar case in which a 25-year-old man was attacked by a camel under his care. The man was reportedly, this is a separate incident, but he was reportedly feeding the camel when it repeatedly bit the man's face and neck, resulting in an emergency room visit for what turned out to be in left eye evisceration and facial nerve injury. The guy lost his eye. Left eye evisceration is kind of like what Fetty Wap has, where it's like, it's just kind of like you can see like inside. It's just kind of the
you see his brain,
his peanuts.
Yeah, I can see all the peanuts trickling out.
You won't get bonked in the head by Elephant Man if you don't give him a peanut. But yeah,
I would rather have my eye bitten out by a camel than it getting shot out with a BB gun.
I thought you were gonna say you'd rather have your eye bit out by a camel than being murdered by a camel. And I was gonna say I'd have to agree with you.
That too.
But yeah, no, BB gun would be bad. At least you
feel like a camel's a cool story.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you had to choose, I guess that's the way to do it.
To lose an eye, yeah, camel.
Yeah.
Or a toucan. Toucan just swooping down, taking it out.
That'd be fun.
That'd be cool.
Crazy homeless guy.
No.
Fight in trailer with samurai swords.
That's cool.
Little Kill Bill.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah. Anyway, I think you guys are caught up in any of the news. Camels kill, snakes kill.
Oh, I got one more news, but it's protected by an ad, so I can't read it if I try.
David, you don't read them when they're not protected by ads.
Oh no, that's why it takes me so long. Is because I have to pay for these subscriptions. I am
entering all
massively
this
in debt.
information. You're entering your credit card information.
Yeah.
New York Times is not going to pay itself.
For how often I type that up, you think I'd remember it by now. Royal Navy finds uninhibited Henderson Island has been marked on the charts in the wrong place for 85 years.
Wait, uninhabited or uninhibited?
Uninhabited.
Oh, wait, it was
Sorry.
it was in the wrong place on the map.
Yeah, it turns out for 85 years we've just had it in the wrong place on the map.
I mean, I still don't really get how the map works. Like, apparently Russia. I'm not gonna bring up Russia, but
how do maps work? I don't
know.
No,
no, I just mean like how they elongate the countries at the bottom and the top, like
for perspective.
Yeah. Like obviously, like Greenland and Iceland. Like they're not. There's not that big of a vast difference between the two, but like Greenland looks gigantic, and apparently Russia looks so big, and it's not that big.
Really?
It's the size of Rhode Island, apparently.
No, that's not true.
No.
Fuck you.
No, but it isn't as big. Like somebody did dragged it over the United States, and they're like, oh, it's like kind of similar in size or something like that. Like
So Rhode Island?
No. I'm joking about that. That was a joke, David. Rhode Island is like the fucking smallest state, besides maybe Hawaii. I don't even know, but like,
yeah,
you were supposed to laugh at that, not challenge me on it, David.
Well, I got upset because I almost believed you for a second.
Okay, well, that was a good way to end that. I like that. I like that.
It's good.
I like that one. Oh, man. Well, I hope they find out where it's really supposed to be. Where is this island? I know you didn't read it, but you know?
Yeah, I don't fucking know, man.
What's it called?
I already closed it. Henderson Island.
And I mean, if I look it up, it's in the wrong
Sounds
area,
white as
right?
shit.
Harry and the Hendersons. This place. Let's see where it's at. Let's see where it's not at, I should say. It is... Wow, it is in the middle of nothing. It's in between Chile and Australia. So, like, almost directly in the middle. Wow, there was nothing out there. There's an island.
So that'd be a shitty place to crash into when you're looking at the map and there's nothing there. Then all of a sudden, you're there.
Or a good place to crash into if you want to, start a new life. Wow, it's very pretty. Wow, it's very cool.
Why doesn't anybody live there then?
It's very small. It's literally like trails. It's like there's no place to build anything. Oh, it looks like there's like a bunch of ducks on the island though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, good eating.
Yeah. You ever eaten a duck foot?
Foot, no.
You've eaten duck?
Yeah. Have you not?
No.
You ever had a little Peking duck?
Oh, you know what? I think I have. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, they wrap it in tin foil. How fun.
A little swan.
Anyway, okay. We need to get into these stories. You ready?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, here we go. Now, David, this weekend, people will be once again celebrating St. Patrick's Day for the first time in about 2 years, if you really think about it.
Yeah.
Because I think the lockdown in LA started around March 15th of 2020. And then 2021, March 17th. I think you...
We get it.
I fucking hate you. Now I'm just walking through it in my head. Fuck you, dude. You know what? Some people might have celebrated, but I have not. So, it's a night of drinking green beer, drinking dark beer, vomiting a mixture of green and dark beer, and of course, doing all things Irish. Now, if you are actually from Ireland, I apologize, because I know American customs are, of course, different from the Irish customs. Besides, the excessive drinking, of course. But, Ireland's got us covered on that. I mean, we do our fair share, but I feel like you really can't compare to the UK and Ireland. They just got us beat. They're drinking points at noon.
Tempe?
At high, what do they call high noon?
What?
Stone. I'm joking. I don't know. I'm just trying to make up a new thing they say. Half past a freckle hair leprechaun. So besides the excessive drinking, of course, but in honor of the Irish holiday, I wanted to share 2 tales of Irish strangeness as we minimize a rich culture down to a silly accent. Hi. So grab your pot of gold and a Guinness, because today I will be telling ye about the short straw and the murder at Ballyvolane House. Ballyvolane.
Are you Irish?
I'm half Irish, yes.
All right, good.
I'm Irish, half Irish, half-ish.
Like quarter, I think.
I'm half Irish, half Italian. So I can make fun of them. That's fine. My people, it's totally fine. So, like I said, I want to tell you 2 stories, the short straw and the murder at the Ballyvolane House. So the first story is the short straw. So here we go. When Patrick O'Brien, the most Irish name you could ever think of, from Limerick City, literally the most Irish city you could think of, was 15 years old, his mother, a poor widow, resigned to the streets. I don't know what that meant. I think it means prostitute, but
yeah, I think that's what it's saying.
Maybe she was a busker, Those are the people who sing on the streets, David. Don't get your mind out of the gutter.
You got me all razzled up over here.
So, she was resigned to the streets, but she was doing her best to feed, her family. But poor Patrick knew that his fate was destined for a life in the harsh environment and low pay of the workhouse, because there is a caste system in some of these places, and even in America today, they say it's not like India or something like that where the caste system's much more prevalent, but still. So, determined to change his lot in life, on November 25th, 1835, the young lad signed up as a cabin boy aboard the Francis Spate, a lumber ship that also took passengers and was based at Limerick Docks. 1835. I want you to remember that, because these boats...
1835?
No, I just mean to really paint the picture.
All right.
Everyone's got wet socks all the time. That's just 1835 shit. Mm-hmm.
Or no socks at all.
No socks. Just they got one big toe hanging out of their leather boot all the time. And they got dirty little cheeks. So The day young Patrick signed on, the ship left for New Brunswick, Canada, under the command of Captain Thomas Gorman. So New Brunswick, Canada is on the eastern coast of Canada. So, an Irish boat trip from, Ireland to Canada. I think is it about like a month? But I think it might be more than that, especially in 1835.
Yeah.
Wind just wasn't as strong back then.
It's just not the same,
They didn't have the weather machines to,
No.
make the boat go quick. So after the many weeks out at sea, the crew landed at New Brunswick and began to unload the shipment of lumber on board, which is also weird because, like Canada has trees.
Yeah, that's true. They do.
Did they just...
But not the same.
I mean, did they not have, like, logging plants or stuff? Or, like, is Irish lumber better? Very confusing to me, but, they needed lumber, and so they were there with the lumber.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the last thing you want to do after sailing for 3.5 fucking months is to start chopping down trees.
I'm just going to hang out and, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Oh, just wait till I get off the boat. I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna.
I think I'm just gonna.
You know that they all did. Little privacy. They're all hiding behind. They're like, we can't cut down these trees. They're all stucky. They're all sticky. Who's hiding behind the trees? They all go behind the trees.
They're all in the trees.
I think I got pooped on by a bird. That ain't
Goddamn,
poop.
Patrick, I already picked this tree. Find your own.
There's two sides of a tree, Henry. So after they were
touching tips through the tree.
Oh, look, there's a knot in the wood. Okay, I'm done. I'm not done. Give me a second.
Hold on.
Okay, now I'm done. After they were finished unloading the goods, oh god. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The crew loaded their remaining cargo back on and began the return journey to Limerick, where they write limericks all day. On December 3rd, 1835, the ship broached off the coast of Canada in a snowstorm, washing away all the provisions and fouling the water stores. So broaching is when I think you make a quick turn and then it kind of does like a little flippy over and, it no good. Boat not supposed to be full of water from what...
Yard sale.
Yeah, yard sale, sure. So of the 18 crewmen, 3 were thrown overboard during the accident and 15 survived, including 4 young crewmen in their teens. It's always weird to me. See, the way, like, people get killed by, like, camels and horses, I feel like the same way for, like, people who get, like, thrown overboard and they, like, drown. And I understand that, like, probably not everybody knew how to swim because I literally had to go to, like, classes where I was forced to do it. And I bet people in 1835 were like, I'm not going near the water unless I have to be a sailor, like there's no point. Yeah. So like what?
You have to factor in the point that like you don't get thrown overboard in calm water.
You make a point.
Yeah.
You make a point. But yeah, I mean it's always something that's kind of baffled me. But yeah, I'm not gonna I let dead men lie. So with only rainwater and bottles of wine, who needs anything else?
What else do you need?
Maybe a tree, right? Maybe like a tree.
A big, strong fir.
They crashed the boat. They're like, we got wine and water. And is there a fucking tree down there? Please. They can use the mast.
Yeah, but we lost the penis drill.
They got a big tree right in the middle. It's called the mast, That's fine. Everyone's just kind of running around it, pulling on their puds. So with only rainwater and bottles of wine, the crewmen endured severe cold, dehydration, and hunger until December 18th. That was, 15 days. When the captain suggested they sacrifice one of the 4 young crewmen to survive. The captain justified exclusion of the older crewmen by the fact that they had families depending on them. Fucking bullshit.
Fuck your future.
I think it's so dismissive. Like, I feel like the captain should be like, eat me first. Like, you know how they say, like, go down with your ship? Like, you fucking coward piece of shit. Like, they're like, eat the young ones. It's like, they have more life to live. You guys already lived your life. And I think the moms do. Very actually kind of sexist, if you think about it. Yeah. So sexist. Those women can do just as much as a man can do. Eat the older fucks.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's spoiled meat. meat went bad long ago.
Yeah, captain's like, I think we're going to have to eat one of the teens. And David's in the huddle. He's like, any babies on board? Did anybody bring a baby? Anybody bring a baby? They're like, no, we're actually like, we need to save the father so they can go home and raise their babies. Oh, you guys have babies. Oh, what's your address when we get back? I'm just like kind of curious. Also, is there a tree on board?
I had babies.
David, you have a family to go back to, right?
I used to.
Yeah.
I brought them with me.
As he wipes his mouth clean of baby meat. As he closes his lunchbox really rapidly. So they
snap it shut.
So the four boys cast lots, and Patrick O'Brien, a 15-year-old cabin boy, drew the death lot. What is? I always thought the first story I read about this was about picking straws. What's drawing a lot? That's the same thing, right? Drawing a lot.
Yes.
Drawing a lot, making a chance decision by using lots, straws or pebbles that are thrown or drawn.
Huh.
Yeah, it's like pieces of paper or whatever. So
okay,
whoever gets the biggest or smallest pebble type shit, I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of bullshit though. I would like to like state my case a little bit more. If these old fuckers are like, we have baby back home, I'd be like, I have hot girlfriend.
We gonna make hot babies.
And this guy's like, I don't have girlfriend yet, but I virgin. And you're like, that's a good case too.
Oh yeah.
They're like, come on. And then the captain's like, follow me.
Takes him to the mast.
Yeah, and then he brings him back out, and he's like, okay, you can cast his vote now. And everyone's like, what just happened? And the boy's like, I want to live. So it was good. It was consensual. It was nice.
I want to live, but does anybody have any tweezers?
What does that mean?
He's got splinters.
Oh, he showed him the tree.
Yeah.
Okay.
The mass.
Oh, the mass. Okay. So, this is fucked up, man. So, like I said, 15-year-old cabin boy Patrick O'Brien drew the death lot. Captain ordered the cook to kill O'Brien. Fucking coward. I hate this captain. First off, he's like, don't kill me. And then, like, all of a sudden, they're like, okay, kill the 15-year-old kid. And they're like, chef, you cook food, right? Murder that child.
Yeah.
It's like,
hey, the chef's probably killed a pig or two.
I can't wait till you're a father. He comes home, where's the piglet? Where is it?
Don't talk about my dog like that.
Yeah, that one too. So the cook initially refused, but was later forced to do so by the captain. Real fucking shitty captain once again.
Yeah.
However, the cook failed in killing O'Brien. Good cook, bad murderer. O'Brien attempted to kill himself, though, by cutting his own wrist. But his attempt also failed because I guess it was too cold, so like he couldn't like have a lot of blood flow, which is, I mean, just speaks to like the harsh conditions in themselves.
Jesus, I didn't know that was possible.
I know. Well, I mean, 15 days without like, you know, sustenance, I bet like your blood starts running like mayonnaise or something, you know? Too much mayonnaise and not enough mayonnaise can do it to you.
Yeah.
So in the end, the captain resorted to cutting O'Brien's throat, at which point O'Brien resisted but was killed. Just, I mean, I guess I can't talk shit about the captain for being a coward anymore, but like, what a piece of shit, man. Like this guy, I don't know. I'm not a fan. At least he made it quick. That's fucked up.
He did his dirty work.
So the surviving crewmen cannibalized O'Brien for 3 days until the 20th, when an adult crewman, Michael Behane, and another cabin boy, George Burns, which happens to be the name of the boss in The Simpsons, I just realized.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Burns.
Yeah, they became deranged from dehydration and hunger. They were also cannibalized in addition to another crewman who died on the same day. So these two dudes just like kind of started going crazy and they're like, kill him, kill him, kill him. And then another guy just died of like natural causes, so they ate him too. And when the surviving crewmen were about to draw another lot for cannibalism, they were spotted by the American vessel Agenoria. The crewmen were waving hands and feet of cannibalized victims to express their plight. Oh, wowee. So after being stranded for 20 days, 11 crewmen survived out of the 18. 3 died due to the snowstorm, and 4 had been cannibalized. 3 murdered, 1 died of natural causes. Aboard the Agenoria, the survivors were so emaciated and malnourished that they couldn't feed themselves without help. They could eat a boy. Just a boy.
They eat the boy.
He ate the boy.
Oh, yeah.
All this boy talk, all this boy eating talk got me thirsty and stuff. So I just had
Got you parched.
take a swig of boy blood. But young blood.
Young blood.
Young blood, horse. So, that was the story of Patrick O'Brien. R.I.P. Patrick. You deserve better. I mean, at least if there's one bright silver lining out of this story is that like the first guy to die like gets his name like written.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, why are you talking so much about him when he was just one of the people that got eaten?
Because I think he was like, it's always like the first. Why do we talk about George Washington? There's been 50 of them.
Wood teeth.
Don't get. Oh, that's the one thing Patrick hated. You know why?
Yeah, I know why.
Yeah, you know why.
Everybody knows why.
Let's jump into this next story real quick. It's kind of another quick one, so I just chose 2 little quick ones for you, so you could tell them at.
Cool.
Tell them at.
Mine might actually be a little longer, so that's good.
Okay, you can tell us at Irish Thanksgiving or something like that, where you guys are having a pint. I heard a story about a 15-year-old boy being eaten to death. He got ate to death. So, this is murder at Ballyvolane House. So, in 1730, even earlier, but guess what? We're not dealing with water, so it's a little bit better.
Okay.
1730, the elderly Andrew and Jane St. Leger had rented the Grand House in Cork from the owners. They kept their valuables in a treasure chest in their bedroom, as was typical of the time. Like I said, this is an old couple in 1730. They have seen some shit. They have treasure. They're locking it up, like
trinkets and relics.
I can't believe. It's so weird. I know this is such a esoteric, weird thought to think about, but like it's so weird to think like there's an old person in 1730 being like, wow. Well, it's so different. It's so different than 1650 when I was born. Everything is so different. Are we going to get any more like advanced than this?
Well, I was thinking about it, and I meant to bring it up earlier in the news stuff, but we're talking about getting rid of daylight savings.
Yeah.
And I was like, how long have we been doing that?
Oh.
And I Googled it, and I believe it started in 1916.
Oh, really?
I honestly thought it was older.
I thought it would be too. No, because Benjamin Franklin invented it, right? I think the
Germans did.
Oh. What the fuck did they say national treasure? They said some bullshit about it.
I don't know.
Maybe he like...
Benjamin Franklin, he wasn't alive in 1916, was he? I don't fucking think he was. I think my grandma was. I don't think Benjamin Franklin was.
17? Maybe he had the idea. 1776 is when we signed the Declaration of Independence.
Dude, he died 1790.
Yeah, I know. But no, in that fucking movie, they said something about Benjamin Franklin and daylight savings. Benjamin
where I was going with this
Yes.
is it'll be funny when our kids are like, so wait, you guys would change the time like twice a year? And we'll be like, yeah, and they'll be like, why? We'll be like, farmers or some shit. I don't know.
Oh, it says the first mention of saving daylight was in an economical project. That was the name of the paper proposed by Benjamin Franklin in 1784. Although electric-powered homes weren't a thing during the time, the proposal was to save the expense of candlelight.
Okay.
So I think they
fucker died 6 years later.
They changed it. Yeah, they changed it so people could like go do more shit when it had daylight instead of being like, oh, it got dark really early. You know what I mean?
Didn't we implement it
Dude,
for farmers?
I really don't even know how I know how daylight savings works, but like every time I started thinking about it, my brain fucking goes in like haywire mode. They're like, we're jumping forward tonight at 3, and I'm just like, okay, so that means if tomorrow at 7, it'll really feel like 8, but it'll say 8, but it'll be 7. It'll be. I just like David, breathe. You're okay.
All I know is it fucks me up whenever I'm trying to go to work and shit.
Yeah, I know. It sucks. But I don't know. Somebody invented it for a reason, so I don't really know to say yay or nay, but
farmers, man.
I love it when I get that extra hour of sleep though, but always in March I get a little peeved about losing it.
It is a nice little treat when you get that hour back.
Yeah.
I will miss that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, spring forward, fall back. Yeah. Anyway, so like I was saying, these old motherfuckers kept their shit in a chest. Pretty cool. So they were like, and I also said they were renting this grand house in Cork from the owners. Butler Timothy Cronin and maid Joan Condon became focused on the hoard, and together they plotted the murder of the old couple. So I think they're just like, we want some treasure. So on November 4th, 1730, Joan allegedly held a candle obviously not daylight savings going on, you know. They're not saving their candle. But what they were doing while they're holding the candle was Timothy shot Andrew St. Ledger and brutally stabbed his wife Jane multiple times with a sword.
Oof.
How does he get out so easy? Oh, I know why.
God damn, dude. A sword death definitely feels like one of the worst out there.
Oh, actually, I totally figured out why they did that like that. They probably had one gun, and it probably took 45 minutes to reload. So they're like, if we have an issue, it's probably going to be from, like, the man. So just shoot him in the head first. And then the woman, we have this sword, you know,
yeah.
Which is fucking crazy, man. Just take the money at that point, you know? They never even asked. Just ask me. Take the money.
Yeah.
So in order to create an alibi, the two buried the chest they had stolen in the shrubbery of the house and returned to their quarters so it appeared strangers had committed the heinous crime. Smart. The alarm was raised and shock appeared through Cork. It was traditional that employees would ride on the carriage carrying their deceased masters/mistress, and so the murderers found themselves on the day of the funeral riding with the bodies of their victims. Because like you said, they were renting this house, and the butler and maid were probably already living in, like they come with the house. So when the new people showed up, they became like their butler and maid. They murdered them, and it was, you know, you're like, oh, I guess the house people accompany you to the, you know, to the funeral, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So I did not like this part. The family dog, a spaniel, followed behind the hearse carriage, crying pitifully and unnerving Joan Condon in the process. You know, the bitch maid who stabbed the woman with the sword. Worried she would crack under the pressure, Timothy Cronin jumped down and picked up the dog. Once the procession was
Don't
out of
do
sight, he slit the dog's throat and tossed it into a ditch.
Come on, man.
I know.
You didn't have to, like, go into what happened. You could have said he made the dog go to the farm. The dog lives on the farm now.
Well, I wasn't going to bring it up, but then, like, it kind of, I actually wanted to glaze over that part for that reason, but, like, the dog comes back in. It doesn't come back. It doesn't.
The dog comes back the very next day.
Wasn't that a song? The dog came back.
The cat going back.
No, it's like standing in a field with a slit throat pointing at them going, you did this. Like, of course. Yeah. So.
That's the first invisible dog.
So, there we go. There we go. So, I mean, if we can see him, how many dogs have we killed, David?
It's true.
It's true. So, Cronin caught up with the cortege. These are words I don't know. However, with the spaniel's disappearance, the other servants began to take an interest in the shifty butler and maid. A ford was reached, and the horses, not a car. I'm beginning to think it's some kind of bridge. A ford was reached, and the horses refused to cross the river, despite every effort. Mutterings began that only witches could not cross the river, and was there someone in the carriage causing the horses distress. So people were like, "Oh, okay, this is weird. The dog disappeared. They're acting all weird. They died under they're the only ones in the house. She a witch." So finally the horses crossed, but suspicion against the two continued to mount, and the staff became very vocal in their belief that the authorities should look no further than Ballyvolane for their killers. So, panicking, Cronin and Condon fled the house without their loot and headed for Cork Harbor, where they boarded a boat for France. A storm blew up all of a sudden.
Where?
France?
Oh, France, okay.
Yes, of course. So, but apparently a storm blew in, and the vessel was unable to set sail, and it was delayed departure for 24 hours. So, crazed with fear at this stage, the fugitives traveled up to Limerick port, going back to Limerick.
There we go.
And they fucking ate a big feast of boys before they fucking went off on their trip. No, they didn't. They traveled up to Limerick port. However, as time passed, their pictures had traveled the counties, and they walked straight into an alert official who arrested them and returned them to Cork for trial. Both were tried and convicted of double murder and the theft of the treasure. Timothy Cronin, I can never say his last name. Timothy Cronin was hanged at the gallows green, hung, drawn, and quartered, and his head was then placed on a spike as a warning to others at Cork. So, drawing and quartering, they cut him up in little pieces. They quartered him. Joan Condon, however, was allegedly a different story. You see, she was convicted of being a witch because of that whole river incident. Oh my God, a horse takes another fucking life.
There you go. So that time he didn't have to kick.
I mean, this horse is just like, I don't really like water. And they're like, wait, where'd that bitch go? Not the witch, but where'd that murderous bitch go? I saw her murder somebody. So she was convicted of being a witch and was taken to a place within the shadow of the murder scene where she was burned at the stake. Ow. And last little note, the treasure chest was never recovered. Oh. So they left it at the manor, tried to flee in two different directions, end up getting caught and executed, and when they went back to the house, the treasure wasn't there. A real Ocean's 11 type. Not an Ocean's 11.
So wait, how'd they know that they put it there?
What do you mean?
Did they write in their journal that they put it there?
They probably questioned him after they caught him.
Yeah.
They're like, "Where'd you put it?" And they're like, "We left it at the house." I mean, they could have been lying about that too. They might have buried it somewhere else. But when, maybe they thought if we tell them that we left it at the house and then somebody else stole it, maybe when we eventually, if we were able to get out of this, we can go dig it back up somewhere else. So who knows? It might still be buried somewhere around Cork.
The treasure was the friendship they made along killing the people.
You know what the treasure really was? The sound the wife made when I struck her with the sword. And she went, "Is that a sword?"
They're really dull sword.
The papers say I killed her with a sword, but really I beat her to death with an aluminum baseball bat practically. That sword, I hit her with the broadside. It was bad.
Yeah. It's one of those old, like, sharpeners, the stick type.
Oh, yeah. It's like a really thick fencing sword.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Anyway, so those are two little Irish tales for you guys, all the way from the land of the Blarney Stone, which is definitely covered in local people's piss. So
yeah, don't kiss
that.
Unless you're into that, I guess.
Okay, I'll Surrey, book my flight to Ireland.
How long am I allowed to kiss the Barney Stone?
Let's say it's holding a jar of pickles. Can I lick the Blarney Stone?
Before I take a bite.
Anyway, so that's real fun. I do want to kiss it, though.
Right.
Now, I think the piss just kind of enticed me a little bit more.
Just to see what it was,
Yeah.
and then pretend later, be like, "Oh, they pee on it. I didn't
Oh,
know
fuck.
that."
Shit. Did they shit on it?
piss.
They don't shit on it? Why'd I even fucking
They
fly
don't
out?
shit on-
Why'd I fly out
Oh.
this way? Anyway, so that's fun. Ireland. Go Ireland.
All right. Yeah, all right, Tobin. Let's talk about Nazis.
When are
I
you
hate
not?
'em.
When are you not?
I hate them. You hate them. And everyone else should hate them. And if you don't, please reevaluate your life immediately. But just because they were the worst people ever and are literally referred to whenever anyone is trying to explain someone as being the worst.
Grammar Nazi.
Exactly. James Harden, the Nazi.
James Corden. Probably a Nazi, right? Guy scares the shit out of me.
Yeah. That doesn't mean they do not do things that fall in line with what we talk about on this podcast. But please, I say it again, we hate Nazis, fuck Nazis. So today we're going...
David, this is the least of our worries with this podcast. If
anybody... I just want to clear that up. We're two white guys.
If anybody
I just want to clear it up.
If anybody of note starts listening to this, they're going to be like, I didn't have a problem with the Nazi part, but they're talking about drinking piss and eating 15-year-olds. Fucking trees and doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so today we're going to talk about Otto Rahn.
What?
Otto
Rahn asphyxiation.
Exactly. The man who one of cinema's most beloved characters was based on. You want to guess who? Yeah, I didn't give you any other backstory, so there's no way you're gonna guess.
It's Christoph Waltz in fucking Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
Is it?
No.
Ah.
No. Okay, I'll give you one other hint. In this individual's films, he does fight Nazis, which is a little ironic.
Huh.
One of the all-time greatest movie characters.
Oh! Brad Pitt in Inglourious Bastards.
No, it's an old movie.
Oh.
Before you were born, I think.
Oh, is it like The Great Escape, like Steve McQueen or something?
All right, game's over. Indiana Jones.
Oh. Well, he only fought Nazis in one movie?
I'm gonna be honest. I really don't know. I haven't seen those movies in so fucking long. I don't know.
I think he fights him in 2 or something like that.
Yeah. So Otto Rahn was born in 1904. So he was around before daylight saving.
Technically, no, because Benjamin Franklin invented
Benjamin
it.
Franklin was around for World War II.
I never claimed that, you fucker. You're the one who said it. I did
Benjamin Franklin really hated those Nazis.
1776. I knew it was 1776. You fuck.
Oh my god.
He's my favorite president.
president.
Yes, he was.
Now he was wild though.
Yeah, he had syphilis.
He banged a lot of
Prostitutes.
women.
Yeah, he had a wife.
No, he like banged a lot of like high ranking women too. It wasn't just prostitutes. Like,
Really?
yes. The whole
Name
like,
one.
He, I don't fucking remember, but he like brought over like fashion over. He did, I swear to God. He was like a fashion icon.
I love that. Dude, that guy was sick.
Have we not done like a story on him? I thought I did.
I don't think you really covered. I mean, you might have brought him up. I just want to see what he looks like again because he's rather funny looking, I think, right?
Isn't he the only person on currency that wasn't a president?
No, Alexander Hamilton, I believe, was treasurer. Our first treasurer, or he invented the.
I need to brush up on my founding father.
He's on the
history
10.
shit.
He's on the $10 bill.
Mm-hmm.
Who's on the nickel? Doesn't matter.
Andrew Jackson.
Who on the nickel? 50 Cent. Thomas Jefferson's on the nickel.
All right, so he was born in 1904 in the Oldenwald, which is a mountainous region in the southwest area of Germany.
We're talking about Otto Rahn, by the way, because I know we went on a Benjamin Franklin thing, so
Yes.
I confused myself.
Still talking about Otto Rahn. This mountain range is home to many places of medieval history and, places of legends. So I cannot blame him because I feel like if I was born in an area with such like a history of that, I would devote myself to studying that said rich history of my homelands, especially if it was like cool medieval shit. I always like medieval stuff.
And
especially one of the things that bum me out about being Americans. We don't have any of that.
And especially if you didn't have no Game Boy, you'd probably be like learning so much.
No Game Boy, but you got all these castle ruins. Okay.
How am I supposed to explore them if I don't have no Game Boy?
So at a young age, Otto was fascinated with the stories of one man, Wolfram von Echternbach.
Damn.
And that was pretty good, huh?
Yeah, not bad.
And especially his 13th century poem, Parzival.
Parzival.
Is that how you say it?
Parzival. It's like I think he's like I don't really know what it means. I mean, it's a character in that book, Ready Player One, but I think that's based off of some other shit. It says everything in that book is based.
that actually could be related. Honestly, it really could. That would make total sense if it was related.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Parzival.
So Parzival tells the tale of the Arthurian hero Parzival. Maybe that's what that guy's name is, with a C, not a Z. And his search for the one and only Holy Grail.
Oh, that makes sense then.
That'd make total sense with Ready Player One, because aren't they searching for? Like, kind of their
it's a big
own
scavenger
Holy Grail?
hunt.
Yeah. So as a child, Otto found these stories to be entertaining, but nothing more than that. That is until he attended the University of Gießen, where he started to study philology.
Filmology. They watch film.
No. You're wrong.
They play Game Boy?
It was at this time that he learned about German archaeologist Heinrich. Here's a good one.
There's always,
Jesus, don't pop your neck like that.
I didn't know you heard that. I'm sorry. There's always got to be one Heinrich. Am I right?
Yeah, Heinrich Schliemann. Who was famous for studying Homer's Iliad.
Mm-hmm.
And
the Odyssey.
and followed clues to find the ruins of ancient Troy, which at this time was thought to be a myth.
Really?
Which I didn't know that. That's pretty fucking cool.
Troy. Where was the Library of Alexandria? What was that? Library.
It was Brad Pitt.
Of He is Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
He is. Library of Alexandria. Oh, that was in Egypt. Where the fuck's Troy? Is that Rome?
I think so.
Where was Troy? I saw the
Somewhere in
movie.
Greece?
It's just been a while. Oh. No. It was in Turkey.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know. My story's not about that. That's just part of it. So, realizing the strength of research in keeping an open mind from Heinrich's accomplishments, Otto thought maybe he could make a similar discovery. In college, he learned about the Cathars, which were a religious sect that came from southern France during the 13th century.
Of course.
And was eventually wiped out by the Catholic Church. Remembered today as the... God, I knew I was going to fuck this word up.
You didn't fuck it up yet.
Albigensin
See you next.
Albigensin Crusade.
I believe
Otto kept studying. Huh?
I believe you.
Oh, okay. So Otto kept studying and looking deeper than the surface between the poems of the Pazival and the story of the Cathars. And through his studying, he came with the conclusion that the Cathars were indeed the true protectors of the greatest Christian relic, the Holy Grail. In 1931, Otto traveled to Montségur in the Pyrenees to explore the ruins of the last Cathar strongholds and the Crusaders' most bloodiest fights.
Damn, they got you twisting tongues up in this story, I tell you.
Yeah, this one's a little rough. You'd think with my German heritage I would understand or say better, but no.
No, you're killing it. Wait. So they went to a place where there's like a bloody battle?
Yeah, he went to the ruins of a place that was like the last big fight between the Crusaders and the Cathars.
Ooh.
So in 1244, hell of a year, the castle was overran by the Catholic Crusaders, and 200 unrepented Cathars were burned alive together in what is remembered as the Field of the Burned.
Yep, that's accurate. They burned in a field. Come on,
What?
Put a little panache on that. Come on, they burned in a field. Why don't you call it like the Field of Screams?
No, because it's a full... Okay, yeah, that's good. I like that more.
Field of Screams.
But it is a local legend that 4 of the Cathar knights managed to escape by climbing down the side of the castle walls with treasures and relics such as
the Holy Grail. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
They're running for their life. They're like, we still got to get some treasure out of this. Come on.
The craziest thing is, like, I was probably like 18 when I found out like the Holy Grail is a real thing. I thought it was just that silly movie.
I was 29 when I found out that the Holy Grail is a real thing. I still don't believe it's a real thing.
Oh, well, that's not what I mean. You know what I mean.
Oh,
that
it
was a separate thing besides the movie.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but like,
Love that movie.
It's kind of. I feel like I mean, I'm not trying to get all controversial right here, but like, I kind of put the same category of like the Holy Grail with like Jesus. And I'm not saying like I know this is like I know I'm sorry if you guys are like very religious. I'm not very religious. I was confirmed Catholic and stuff like that. But like I'm kind of like I want to believe he was like a real guy, and like he might have been like a real guy. I mean, all the documents point to like him being a real dude, but also like they're like, oh, he performed miracles, and I was like, it's just such a long ago text that I can't be like, this is confirmed real. Like, it's passed in way too many people's hands for me to be like, yeah, you can vet this, you know? Same with the Holy Grail. It's like
the only thing that I can guarantee you about Jesus H. Christ
is that his middle name is Hoobastank?
Not just that, but he if he was real, he sure as shit wasn't white.
It's true.
So
I just want a skeleton. That's all I want. Just give me a skeleton so I could be so strong.
I want give me the skeleton. Let me bring it home. Let me stand him up, and I want to see how much taller I am than him.
Oh.
And then I'm gonna bring him to the basketball court. And I'm gonna dunk on him, not out of disrespect, but more out of just like
your own ego.
This is how far we've come, you know?
Yeah. I love that Matchbox 20 song. That's what that song's about.
What song?
How
I Beat Shaq?
Let's see how far we come.
Oh,
and how
I beat Shaq by
Yes.
Aaron Carter.
Doesn't Guar dunk on Jesus in a music video?
I think they rip his arms off and then beat Donald Trump in the face with them.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. So Otto thought he hit it big when discovering new hidden tunnels and chambers at the site of the castle ruins. But unfortunately, there was nothing of value in said caves.
Oh, fuck.
Disappointed in his findings, Otto still published his first book titled Crusade Against the Grail, telling his journey to find the Holy Grail. Well, being, the fact that everyone knew no one had found the Grail, because that'd be pretty big news, his book sales were what you could call shitty.
How many numbers are we talking here? I want to hear numbers.
Oh, they didn't provide numbers. This was so fucking long ago.
This guy was selling out of the trunk of his fucking jalopy.
Yeah. They made 6 copies. He sold 1. But there was one individual who loved his book. And his name was...
Was it Hitler?
No. It was Heinrich Himmler.
Heinrich Himmler.
Replace the T with 2 M's.
Yeah.
Himmler was a well-known Nazi leader and was known to have an obsession with myths and other weird shit. One of the weird shits he was very interested in was the Holy Grail. So, they always talk about, like, the Nazis were into, like, weird sci-fi shit.
Yeah, like they were zombies and...
Yeah, he was one of those guys. Himmler quickly got in contact with Otto and invited him to a private meeting where he expressed his admiration for his work and made a generous offer that was hard for Otto to turn down. Money, money, money. Himmler wanted it to help pay the way to further Otto's research, but there's always a but. He had one condition, and that was for Otto to produce another book by 1937 and a third book by 1939. So Himmler even provided a secretary and private office space for Otto to do his work in.
He kind of he pulled the old university
Basically
trick.
kidnapped him.
No, he's doing the
kidnapped him with benefits.
He's doing the university thing where he's like, I'll give you money and I'll let you do your own research to find the Holy Grail, but you need to publish some papers for me.
Yeah.
That's a university.
100%.
That's a professor right there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So Otto agreed to these deals knowing that this Himmler guy was, a nut job Nazi, but sure enough, Otto's entire life was, closely watched by Himmler and his goons.
Oh, no anxiety.
So he kind of lost freedom in a way, but was also given the means to do the work he wanted to do.
He'd be like drinking out of a coffee cup, and Himmler's like, "That's it." He's like, "No, this is my coffee cup," and he's like, "Shit, I really thought that was it." Drinking out of a water cup. That's it. That's not it. This is not it. Okay, I'll just check it. Sorry, I'll come back.
He's like sewn into his bed.
Just his face is sticking out of the hole.
So, aside from continuing his further investigations into the Holy Grail, Himmler also gave Otto tasks such as looking into Himmler's family genealogy and sending him to Iceland with an SS expedition to study Norse mythology and like legends.
They're looking for Thor's hammer.
Pretty much. Didn't say that. That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
They wanted Mjolnir, however you pronounce it. I think I was pretty close. Although Otto was being sent on tasks that did not interest him, he was a good sport about it, and he did his job.
What a good sport. What a good sport for the Nazis.
So he's like, at this point, he's not really a Nazi. He's just like being paid by them and then gets sent on like an expedition with Nazis. And it's like, you imagine just being like fuck, okay. Like, I guess I kind of have to.
I mean,
get along with these guys.
That's the real like question is like, because then there's people like Albert Einstein who's like, fuck this, I'm leaving. I'm not helping you guys. And you're like, that's pretty
and
noble.
Volkswagen, who helped them a lot.
Yeah, Bayer
Aspirin. And they're cool now.
I think Bayer aspirin created the Zyklon B that was used in concentration camps, like the poison gas and shit like that. Oh, allegedly. I don't want to get sued.
What I didn't know until recently that was Doc Martin was a big Nazi.
What?
Which is funny that punks wear Doc Martens.
Well, I mean, if you've seen those boots, there's a Doc Martin store up the street from my house, and like those boots look like Nazi boots.
Yeah, no, Doc Martin's a big Nazi. Burn your Doc Martens.
Is he like old, or is he like was still alive recently, or like he's like?
No, I think he's been long gone.
Oh, like he was like a 12, 11 guy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
12, 11.
Yeah.
Big tall man.
Yeah.
13 fucking feet tall.
I need more height. Give me thick shoes.
So Otto did such a good job that Himmler actually inducted him into the SS. I don't know if it was so much of a ask or it was like, by the way, you're a Nazi now. The following year, Otto produced a second book, Lucifer's Court, which was a pretty wild book for its time, being that it studied the idea that Satan himself was a positive spiritual character who was slandered and misrepresented by Christianity.
That's one you get for the Kindle. That's one you don't have a cover on the book, just in case you're reading it in public. It's a book. Yeah. It's a pro Satan book written by a Nazi. You gotta. Yeah. That's one you gotta download illegally and not let anybody see you reading that one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, believe it or not, this book did not do good either. But in the eyes of the Nazis, Otto became a celebrity and was sought after for like lectures and appearances and stuff like that.
He pulled the old professor, once again, that professor bullshit where he's like, everybody has to buy my book for this class. It's $80.
So Himmler loved the book so fucking much. He loved this shiny new Satan book so much.
I will slap a sticker on the front.
Oh, he did. He had a special pigskin, the finest pigskin, bound copy, and gave it to the little bitch man himself, Adolf Hitler, as a birthday present.
This is Himmler's book club. Damn.
Hitler's book club had the pro Satan.
It's this one, and I need a new butt. These are my two favorites.
Within the story is a timeless story itself. With fame came darkness. Otto did not really necessarily like being in the spotlight as much as some people would think he would have been.
Especially when they started losing.
Yeah. He was a small book nerd who was a sensitive soul. He did not fit with the heartless Nazi bullies that he was very different from their whole image. Otto was a heavy drinker, a very openly liberal man when it came to politics, and to top things off, to not fit with his coworkers, he was gay.
Were the Nazis not drinkers?
I don't think so.
Fucking nerd.
Because it's something I've never heard of, but this thing that I was reading about this whole story, it kind of hinted that they weren't big drinkers, but they're German. German love their beer, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, but they're like all fucking tight-laced, they're all like fucking
they're drinkers, not heavy drinkers.
Yeah, they think they're like they think they're the cream of the crop, so they're like, we don't drink. We're never like, we eat Wheaties.
Yeah. But yeah, no, he was also gay, which I don't think Nazis like that. In many of Otto's letters to friends and family, he made it clear that even if he was working with the Nazis, he never once felt any sympathy for them, but only saw them as a resource to achieve the research he desired. When a friend saw Otto sporting the classic Nazi outfit complete with the Nazi dagger and swastika armband, Otto shrugged and sighed and said to his friend, "One must eat." Basically just being like, well, kind of have to do this.
Yeah.
So surprisingly enough, with how crazy Himmler seemed on paper, he knew all about Otto's dislike of the Nazis, and he even knew that he was a homosexual liberal.
Oh, wow.
But Himmler overlooked those things and could ignore their differences in the name of knowledge. which I find actually really kind of cool and interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of
like most of those dudes, if they had one or the other, they'd just fucking shoot them right there, kind of thing. But
yeah, it's also like I don't want to say that like I don't want to speak for Himmler, but I mean, I feel like if like maybe he did find like the Holy Grail, like there's one of two ways this goes, where he goes like, wow, like you're going to be like one of the higher ups, or he just shoots him in the head right there and goes, I got what I need.
Yeah,
because
true.
He had knowledge that Himmler needed. So it's like, why would I kill him over this thing when like he's providing me something that I could possibly use? You know what I mean? So
yeah, no, absolutely.
But it's hard to say.
So by 1938, Otto was starting to distance himself more and more from the Nazis and started spending more time outside of Germany once his reputation started to get kind of dunked on for who he surrounded himself with, Nazis. But he took it one step further and started sharing SS secrets with people. And like joking around when they failed and like telling people like, oh, they fucked up on this real bad kind of thing. And which wasn't a great idea.
In the locker rooms, in the headquarters, they don't even have the Gatorade. They have the Powerade. They drink the Powerade. Double sugar, less electrolytes. They drink the Powerade. It's gross.
Whatever the fuck Logan Paul's making.
It's red. It gives you red mustache. It's so gross. So nasty. Gatorade, so good. I'm like changing my accent like mid like, oh god.
So, and if sharing secrets wasn't bad enough, he hadn't proved his proof of being quote unquote Aryan heritage.
Oh.
And he hadn't proved that to the Nazis, and rumors started to circulate of him actually being Jewish.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
Himmler's like, bro, I'll look past some stuff, okay? Are you not being totally kosher with me? I mean, no pun intended. Come on, man.
So, aside from taking their money, Otto kept his net clear of, Nazi shit. And that was until he was ordered to do some guard duty at a concentration camp.
What? Why?
Yeah. And what he saw there horrified him, and his mental state started to decline. So, February 1939, he resigned from the SS, which I didn't know you could just do that. But yeah, he resigned.
I thought that comes with a severance package of a bullet to the head.
Yeah. Going home, his friends said he was never the same after what he saw in the concentration camps.
Oh, jeez.
Now suffering from mental breakdowns and like severe anxiety. Soon after leaving the SS, he went to the South Austrian Alps to do some research. Unfortunately, a few weeks later, they found him popsicled up, frozen to death.
What?
Yeah.
I mean,
just like The Shining.
Because he's in the Alps.
What exactly happened to him was never confirmed, but many believe that after he left the SS, he was worried that they knew his political views and his sexual orientation, and that they thought he might have been Jewish, so he decided to take his own life instead of the possible chance of being a prisoner in the concentration camp like the one he saw.
Oh.
Then there are other people who believe that the body found frozen in the Alps was not Otto, and that he faked his own death to escape the SS and start a new life. Surprisingly enough, after his death, Himmler demanded that Otto was seen as a good man, saying his death was an accident, and that Otto was a decent, and this is a quote, was a decent SS member and a creator of marvelous historic and scientific works. So, like, that's kind of cool. Like, he said, like, he was a decent SS member. Like, not saying he was, like, good or anything. Like,
why is that cool, David?
Well, it's cool that he, like, in a way, he was, like, he knew that he didn't really want to be affiliated with Nazis. And so, like, he wasn't saying he was a great Nazi or anything. He was like, he was decent, but the creator of marvelous historic and scientific works.
It's
like giving him like bigger credit on the things he actually wanted to be there for.
But it's so funny. It's so hard to be like, I agree with you on like a baseline level, but then I also have to realize like who we're talking about and being like, it's kind of cool that like he gave him the credit. You're like, he gave him the credit for being like an okay Nazi, and we're like, oh god, like when you
no, for sure, for sure. But, like,
and like this guy's so Himmler's such a piece of shit. But I also like I sometimes fall into
he couldn't say that he was like he couldn't say anything less without discrediting him for like his group, you know, like. He probably knew he was a shitty Nazi because he never really was a Nazi, like, at heart.
Yeah.
Like, he gave him props for what he was actually passionate about, and then took the safe road for the other part to make other people happy.
Yeah. I also fall into a camp of like I was like when you're originally like, oh, like it's kind of cool that he like kind of was like even after like he knew he was gay and like, you know, different liberal and stuff like that he was just like he didn't like badmouth him in death. And then there's like a part of me that like still I agree with that in the terms of like I like validation even if it like comes from like a bad source for like a second. Like I'm not a big fan of Donald Trump, but if Donald Trump was like Alex Tobin's good guy, he's a very good guy, he's smart, very good guy, bigly brain, good guy, I'd be like
excellent lover.
I'd be like wow, like that's kind of like cool. And they'd be like wait no I don't like you, like you know what I mean? It's kind of like that thing you do in your brain where you're like, I'm getting positive reinforcement, but it's like from a thing that's not reputable or something. I mean, you could like him, that's totally fine. I just don't. I'm not a fan.
So as I sat there and I wrote this whole thing, but as I'm reading it back, part of me, and this could be a huge reach, wonders if they were romantic.
Maybe.
When you look at all the things,
Himmler was a little like cute little twink if you think about it. Let me see.
Jesus Christ, do I have to edit that out? I don't know. But think about his second book where he talked about Satan actually being like the good guy that was demonized. Could that have been a big reference or a big like alluding to Himmler being like, yeah, he's a Nazi, but he's at heart, he's really not that bad. He's just fighting for what he believes is right, kind of thing.
I mean, I bet every Nazi was like probably like taking that to heart because the whole world was, I mean, half the world was like, fuck you. So they're like, we're good. People don't get us. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, I see what you mean in the terms of like, because what's his name? Otto probably wrote that from more of a first person perspective. And if he had somebody in mind, it would either be himself or, you know, his supposed, I don't know if they're friends or not, or lovers or what's going on, but like, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
But, you know.
'Cause I mean, he knew that he was a homosexual and like didn't do anything about it.
And like a lot of the guys that like do like the gay conversion therapy camps, like they come out and they're like, they're also like the people who are most hateful to a certain group or something, like they secretly want to be like that or you know, want to express themselves like them, or you know what I mean? Like not every time, but you know, it's like a lot of those priests or
occasionally
conversion people come out and they're like, oh, they were actually gay. And you're like, what? Like they were so hateful towards gay people. You know what I mean? It's like, so it's a possibility.
Yeah. So Otto devoted his life to find a Christian holy relic, but in his journey, he found the real hell that was the concentration camps. So, yeah, that's the story of when Nazis hired a gay liberal and possibly Jewish man to find the literal Holy Grail.
So interesting. I mean, like, just the whole... Everything about, like, the whole Nazi thing is so fucking crazy and weird. Like,
I feel like there's so many secrets, too, that, like, people will never know about. Like, the weird, like...
It's almost
experiments they did that they just like didn't give a shit about what would happen to their test subjects. So they did some like really crazy shit.
No, yeah. I mean, obviously, like the worst thing one of the worst things that's ever happened in the human beings, and like
absolutely
happened to and was the cause of like human beings. Like that's the most tragic thing, is that we're doing this to ourselves.
No one will ever top them. We're never going to talk about anybody else like we do talk about them. Like they were the absolute worst.
Yeah, I mean, like I think slavery and like obviously like the mass extinction and killing of like Native Americans. Like there's a couple really big ones that we think about in terms of as I mean that's more as like Americans too. I have like an American because you could think of like Tiananmen Square in China and like rape of Nanking and all that stuff. So like I don't know, like everybody has like their own thing, but like damn, yeah, I'm just gonna say in the end, like the whole Nazi thing is just like it's almost like if somebody like wrote like some fucking lunatic like wrote a script about like we gotta find like a stone that makes like all the soldiers come back and like zombies and fight for us, and you're like, what the fuck? Like that's crazy. Like never.
And they put a lot of money into that shit.
It's like you look at like Romans and they're like, we're going to war, and then like you look at like the Nazis and they're like, find the book that will make us all 4 feet taller, and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
I want 4 legs.
I want to be 12'11". I want to be 12'11". So weird. Anyway, I think that concludes our stories for today. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and listening. We love when you do, and we love telling you these stories. If you guys want any more information, you can go to our Instagram at Camp Strange Podcast. Click the link in the bio, and you can get all of the links to whatever you need, merch or where to listen to the podcast, which is anywhere. If you don't know how to listen to a podcast, how the fuck are you listening to this? And if you guys want to send us anything, you send to our email at campstrangepodcast@gmail.com. I will check it. I just checked it today. We had a lot of spam in there. So Quora Digest or whatever, fucking, because I typed in a bunch of questions about weird shit. Now they're like, do you know how popcorn gets made on Venus? I was like, no, I don't care. I don't care. Anyway, so, I think that's basically it. Oh, rate, review, subscribe if you can. Share it with a friend. We really appreciate any kind of reviews or ratings or, sharing it with people. I know you might be embarrassed to share it with them, or they might think you're way cooler. Oh, this guy's cool. This lady's cool. They know dumb people.
It makes you feel smarter.
Yeah. So you want to feel smarter? Listen to this podcast. Here you go.
We can almost read a full sentence.
So, David, do you have anything to say before we officially head out?
I do. One more time. Fuck Nazis. We hate Nazis.
Fuck them. Anyway, don't forget to stay strange.